Hey, good people. How's it going tonight for all you beautiful, wonderful people? So, listen, my name is Simone, the student teacher. I provide quality education to students by way of training new and beginning teachers to have quality relationships and quality pedagogy. So, we are back. This is day 9 of the 20 days of professional development, summer professional development for new and beginning teachers with yours truly, Simone, the student teacher. I know we are not this did not come out today at 10 a.m. And so I wanted to make sure that I stuck to the 20 days. And so here we are. It's probably about 11:30 p.m. So I am right at the end of the day. It is 11:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then for some of you, depending on your time zone, you could already be in the next day, or you could still have a couple more hours left. And so I want to say God bless all of you guys and welcome to the live stream tonight. So this is part 2 of the difference between coaching and mentoring. If you saw the live yesterday and if you've been rocking with me, I would love to know how it's been a blessing to you. Leave your comments. Shout out to Dr. Lorinda, who's always making comments. Shout out to Mavis A. Creer, who's always making comments. That's my North Carolina and my Mississippi fam. And so I'm excited and thankful to you guys. So what up to LinkedIn, to YouTube, and to Facebook? I say, hey, subscribe to my YouTube channel because this is where the bulk of the content is going to be, and eventually will just be on YouTube. And so again, this is part 2, the difference between coaching and mentoring. And why am I sharing this with you is because for those of you who are beginning and new teachers, you definitely want to make sure that you have either a coach or a mentor in your arsenal, in your toolkit for the year. Besides having lesson plans, besides having your seating chart done, besides having your lesson plans ready to go, it is always beneficial to have a physical person that you can talk to, that you can give answers to, that can coach you, that can help you, that can guide you along the way, because there'll be things that you may not foresee or expect to happen, but a coach or a mentor can kind of give you some guidance on what to look for, and then what to look for, but also how to navigate those things and how you can avoid certain things. And so I want to share with you the difference between a mentor and the difference between a coach. And then tomorrow we'll be back with some more professional development. I'm not sure if it'll be at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, but you will definitely have a live from me or a video from me tomorrow at some point doing day 10. Okay. So again, thank you guys for sticking with me. So with coaching, okay, I'm gonna give you the definition of coaching, some characteristics of what you should look for in a coach, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with the mentor. Okay, so with a coach, now coaches, they're kind of like, it's like a partnership, right? It's a partnership with you and the individual. Okay, it's a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires a person to maximize their potential, both professionally and personally. Okay, so it helps you maximize your potential both personally and professionally. Okay, the process of a coach, the reason why you want to have a coach is because they help improve your performance. They help you focus on unlocking your potential to maximize your own performance. So as a beginning teacher, as a new teacher, you don't even know, right, all of the strengths that you may have in a classroom, because again, I talked about this before. When you're teaching is different from any other profession that you're doing. Yes, it could be customer service. It is customer service, right? Customer service on the phone, or customer service in person with people, say in retail. But I mean, now you have to grade people, you have to teach people, you have to measure and monitor if they're learning. And not only do you have to teach people, but depending on what grade you are, I'm talking about, this is K-12, right? Predominantly. And for those of you who are in the university area, I got you too. But if you're in the K-12 space, not only do you teach a human, but you also have to engage and interact with the parent. So you have, excuse me, Excuse me. So it's like levels to your customer service. And not only that, but then you have colleagues and coworkers that you got to work with. And then you have administrators and supervisors that you got to work with. So there's multiple layers to this. And so it is important to know, okay, what strengths do I bring to the table? And sometimes you may not always see them right away, but a coach will definitely pull out those strengths. A coach can definitely watch from the sideline and say, okay, you do really, really good at that, right? I'm a basketball coach, right? So there were certain things that I can look at these girls and say, oh, you good at that. Oh yeah, you got that grit, you got that and that. And then I would just, share with them, this is where I'm gonna use you at the most. We still gonna work on those things that seem to be problematic or seem to be underdeveloped, but these strengths right here, we gonna push that, right? And so this is the same thing in education. You got to find somebody that can say, okay, I see your potential here. Let's Xerox in on this, so then we can make sure that is expanded while we're still working on the other things that may not be so developed based on experience. It could be based on, your level of education that you have had. It could be based on the demographics in which you grew up in, because this is the thing. It matters where you teach. We're going to get into one of our days. We're going to talk about implicit bias, right? All of us have implicit biases. And a lot of times people don't like to admit it, but we all do. We all have our own implicit bias of the things that we like and what we don't like, what we feel like is good or what we feel like is evil, what we feel like is righteous, what we feel like is unrighteous. We all have those innate things, right? And it could very well be based on where you live, where you come from, who you grew up with, the values that you was instilled in, right? So you have to take into account all of those things. And we come into this place called school, and there we're supposed to mesh with other people who do not have the same upbringings, the same values, the same teachings and experiences. And the same thing with students. A lot of times the reason why they have a hard time getting along is because they don't understand the perspective in which other students come from, and you have to teach that. So with coaching creates a positive change in your life, right? A coach is going to help. Your coach is going to push you. Now, I'll use example of basketball. If you're not really trying to win, the coach pushing you is going to annoy you, make you mad. It's going to make you feel like they're picking on you. It's going to make you feel like it ain't that serious and I don't want to do this no more. You'll want to quit. You'll want the coach to quit on you, and you'll quit on your coach mid-season. After the first practice, after the first game, after the first coaching session, you'll say, you know what? I don't think this is really for me. But those who are serious about it realize this person got something that I want, and I'm going to stick with it. It may be uncomfortable. I may not, feel as confident as I need to be, but I'm going to keep practicing and I'm going to keep working at it. So a lot of times when you're dealing with a coach, there's going to be a lot of feedback. And one of the things you will learn as an educator is that you have to give students feedback. The most valuable feedback is the feedback that they can get immediately or sooner than later, right? So if you're going over something, doing a test or something, or going over a quiz, or you give them something that you're checking for, right? It's better to give that feedback sooner, within a few days, a week at the most, because students will forget, right? And then you will have to go and reteach everything else versus doing it within a couple of days when it's fresh on their mind, because they'll keep asking you, what did I get on this test? Or what did I make, right? Immediate feedback is important, or it has to be sooner rather than later, right? Even if you ever, and I'll use this as far as relationships, right? You having a conversation with somebody, or you bring up something and they don't want to talk about it right now. Well, you want to get to solve the problem. So you need feedback immediately. Okay, maybe we got to take a time out. Maybe we can't talk about it right now, but don't just push it away forever, because that's something that person wants and needs to know. And you're kind of disregarding them. It makes them feel like your feelings are not valid. And you don't want children to feel like their feelings are not valid. We don't want to make, our colleagues feel like their feelings is not valid. Now, it means we always agree with their feelings? Absolutely not. But do we want to listen to them? Remember, I talked about empathy, and this was outside of this, but if you've been following me, I don't know why I'm getting sick. And so I'm going to have to put some tissue on my nose right on live. So forgive me. Now, one thing that I would say, and I talked about this too, and I'm going to come back to what I was about to say. I'm going to talk about empathy, but I'm going to talk about this too. When you have sick days, please use them. Now, it may be sometime when you feel like, oh, I'm okay and I can still go to work. When you know you just like can't make it, can't hold your head up, use those sick days. And it may come to a point where you like, I don't even have days to take, but when you feel like I just can't take it and I don't want to go into a building to get other people sick, please don't do that. Students do it a lot. Parents will say, no, you going to school, right? Or nope, you gonna go, you'll be all right. You know, if you don't feel good by lunchtime, then call me and I'll come pick you up, right? And a lot of times what happens is they spread those germs and then everybody else gets sick around them, right? Don't be like that as a student. I mean, don't be like that as a teacher, but also don't be like that as a human being, right? But there may be some days when you say, I don't feel good, but I can still show up. Tonight, I need to figure out why this nose is doing this, but I know I can still show up and do this, right? So getting back to empathy, right? Empathy is and my new understanding of empathy is that I may not be able to relate to the situation that a person is going through, but I can relate to the emotions that they're feeling. Now, we may not be able to relate to or feel like the emotions of a student for whatever reason. It could be a bad test grade. It could be somebody said something to them. It could be having a bad hair day. And we all know how that makes us feel as adults, right? We may not be able to relate to the actual experience that the student is feeling in the moment. We may not be able to relate to the actual experience that our coworkers are feeling in the moment, but we can relate to the feeling. I felt like this before. So let me be empathetic to what they're saying. Let me be empathetic to what they're doing. And so with coach, the coach is going to give you some feedback. They're going to ask some open-ended questions. They may not be able to relate to every situation and circumstance that you have, but they'll be able to relate to the emotions that you feel around it, and then kind of talking through those emotions that you feel sometimes, because a lot of times when we're in the situation, it seems massive. It seems grandiose, but when you take a step back and someone else is looking at it from a non-biased perspective, you can kind of put things in perspective a little more, right? So a coach also provides direction and encouragement. You may be having a off day, or you may be feeling a little insecure about something. You may be feeling like that lesson didn't go too well. Or maybe you had an evaluation. We done prepped and we talked about it, and you still don't feel like it, went as you had planned it out. You need a coach that's going to encourage you too. Hey, listen, I know you feel like this didn't happen, the way you wanted to, but in spite of it, you're still doing a great job. You're still showing up. You're still putting forth the effort. You're still giving your best every single day. You're doing a wonderful job. That's what coaches do. They encourage you, right? And they also give you direction. If there's something that you're not doing well, or something that they see you can do better in, they're going to provide you with some directions. Now, a lot of times the coaches may not be in your building. Now, we have data coaches. It could be a literacy coach. It could be a math coach. I don't know if they've extended it to science and social studies and the other disciplines, but usually they have the literacy and the math coaches, right? And so they're going to give you direction around literacy, and they're going to give you direction around math, right? But sometimes you just need direction around your whole entire teaching year, right? You need direction for evaluations. You need direction and coaching on how to interact with these parents. You may need coaching around how can I interact with my colleagues who are very difficult. I need coaching around how do I meet these deadlines when they're telling me I need to do all these things, and still I'm still supposed to have a life. You need to have a coach that can kind of give you some direction on those things as well. Now, what would you look for in a coach? You say, okay, you know what, Simone, I think I need a coach, but what can I look for in a coach? Now, we are almost close to our 20 minutes. I make sure I stay within the 25-minute range tonight, so give me 10 more minutes. So one of the things you will look for in a coach, one, they should be able to listen, right? There's an art to listening. And again, here we go. There's an art to listening. There's an art to listening. Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand. A lot of times people listen to respond instead of listening to understand. All right. Straight up listening to understand. Don't listen to respond, listen to understand. And when you understand, give feedback. A lot of times people are listening to understand what they want to understand, or they listen to come up with their own conclusion and never give feedback. But a good coach is going to listen. And a coach is going to listen to understand your viewpoint. How did you come to that conclusion? They ask all these open-ended questions because they want to make sure they have a clear understanding of what you're saying. They want to make sure they have a clear understanding of how you're feeling. They build rapport, right? One thing about a coach is, can they build a rapport with you? Can they build a rapport with the people that you're even leading, right? Are they empathetic? Are they able to summarize and reflect on the things that you guys have talked about and the goals that you guys have set? Are they goal oriented? Do you have a coach that gonna put some goals in place? Y'all gonna sit down and put some goals in place and measure it. Are you making progress, or are you falling back, or are you making progress in one area, but this area still tends to be an area of concern? Coaches, your coach should be laser focused. Are they focused on the goal that you have set in front of you? Are they focused on making sure that you have the best year that you need to have this year? And then you have a coach that is open-minded and non-judgmental, right? One thing about a coach is that, for me, I'm not here to judge your teaching practices. I'm not even here to judge your outlook on teaching, but I am here to set some realistic goals with you and help you get there. And if there are suggestions that I have to share with you, I will absolutely give that to you. And then some of the principles that are used for coaching success. One, you have to build a relationship. You have to be trustworthy, right? I was saying this tonight. I was just having a conversation with my own self tonight. If I don't trust you, you don't get my story. If I don't trust you, you don't get my story. It doesn't mean that I don't share it. It means I just don't share it with you. If I don't trust you, you don't get my story, right? So you have to be trustworthy. You have to build relationships. You have to be able to ask questions. You have to be able to listen and give feedback. You have to be aware of what's happening with this person. You have to give suggestions and make it simple, right? They say, KISS, keep it simple, sadly, right? Some people put other things for the S. Keep it simple, sadly. Then you have goals, you have action plans, they're accountable, and then they have accomplishment. So that's the level of that's overall a summation of coaching. What does it mean to have a coach? And remember, I said in the schools they're gonna have data coaches, they're gonna have literacy coaches, right? I don't know what other discipline coaches they may have these days, but you might need a coach that's going to help you holistically, right? Personal and professional growth, certain things that the data coach probably ain't going to tell you because they so focused on the data, right? But a coach will definitely help you get to where you want to go. Now, the difference between a mentor. So we talked about coaching, and then we have a mentor. A lot of you, your first year teaching, you're going to have a mentor. Some counties have mentor teachers, right? Where they pair you up with a seasoned teacher who is no longer they're no longer in the classroom. But then you might have some people who's in the classroom, who's in your building, and you say, I like this person, we kind of get along. I've kind of seen, I've heard people talk about how wonderful great they are. So maybe I want this person to mentor me. Maybe we in the same department or team, and they really have some good ideas. And I just kind of want to get some help from them, get some suggestions or some ideas from them. That is more of a mentor, right? That's more of a mentor. Usually with a coach, right? Let me say this for coaching. Usually with coaching, there is some type of transactional fee that goes with a coach. I told you I coach basketball. I did not coach basketball for free. Hallelujah. I was not the girls' head basketball coach for free. So coaching, there's usually an expense also outside of your time. Mentorship is usually a long-term relationship, but it's not necessarily an exchange of money. It's somebody that you're building a long-term relationship with. It's like a trusted advisor. Somebody has more experience than you, which the same thing for a coach, but for a mentor, they experience, and they more of a trusted advisor. I can go to this person for, help and advice on certain things, and they tend to lead me in the right direction, right? Mentoring, it consists of a long-term relationship and is focused on supporting your growth and the development of who you are as an educator, development of who you are as a person. Okay. Mentorship is a relationship usually between two people where the individual with more experience and more knowledge and more connections are able to pass along, what they've learned to the person that they're mentoring. So say I use myself as an example. If I'm your mentor, right, which I have a Pretty Heal mentorship program for girls and women, but again, that is not necessarily that's not a free program, but it is a mentorship type program, right? Coaching teachers is different from a mentorship program. Now, mentorship program is, you say I'm the mentor, right? I have more experience, I have some more knowledge, I have some different connections than these young girls. I'm passing on to them all the things that I've experienced as being a girl, a young girl, a teenager, a young adult, and now, and I would say a mature adult now, right? So a mentor passes all the information on to the mentee. Now, the benefits of a mentor is this: they're able to lead the future generation in an area they care about and ensure the best practices are passed along. So when I do this Pretty Heal mentorship program for these girls in middle school and high school, the goal is to pass on something that's going to benefit them in the next generation. I'm passing on tips and strategies and things to avoid, the things to look out for, the things that you should be doing right now, so it can help you in your generation and help everybody else that's in your generation that you have influence over, right? So the mentee benefits from this because they have proven that they are ready to take the next step in their career or next step in their life to make sure that they are putting these things in practice so they can get the results that they want. And again, excuse me, okay? Mentors, as a mentor, they're going to share with you information about their own career path. So again, you might find somebody in your building who can share with you, okay, this is what I did year 1 and year 2 and year 3 or whatever year they're in. They can share their information with you. Usually the mentor teachers that you have from the county, they usually have several years of experience. But the thing about that is they have a caseload, so you're not their only mentee, right? And of course, when I do my mentorship program, I don't have just one mentee, right? It's several of them in the program. But one thing about the mentee is that you have to also take responsibility and ownership to say, hey, I'm trying to get as much as I can from this mentor when I have them in my presence, right? So don't ask somebody to mentor you. Don't ask somebody to coach you. And then when they come around, you checked out. You're not really focused. You're not really locked in. You're really not, taking advice and using it as valuable. Whoever you decide to have a mentor or coach, so say if it's a mentor that they assign you from the county, right? Still try to build that relationship with them. Still try to build that partnership with them. If you feel like, if you go and you realize I can't really trust this person is not really helpful to me, then you can seek out other opportunities with people in your building. And that has to be a self-initiated thing. One of the things you're gonna find out in education is that you are absolutely gonna have to be self-driven in a whole lot of things. We would love to have all these resources at our disposal in the schools, but if you know anything about education, there's been a mass exodus of teachers leaving by the droves since probably 2000, and here it is 2024, right? Surely in 2020 there was thousands upon thousands of teachers who left the classroom to never return, because now you have so many holes in the schools that these online tutoring programs, these virtual programs, now hire these educators, these retired educators, to go back into the schools virtually. So people are sitting home making money, still doing what they love, except they're not in the classroom. So there's a lot of holes now that used to not be there. So while it's ideal to have mentor teachers in every school, and you be able to talk to them once or twice a week, sometimes you may get to talk to them once a month. Again, that's why you have to be a self-starter, because you may have to look for these resources. You might have to look for these people outside of what they offer you inside the county. All right. Now, a mentor, they share information about their career path. A mentor gives you guidance, they give you motivation, they give you emotional support, they give you the role modeling. It's like, okay, some days is I just may need to talk, right? And we're gonna definitely have to get off this thing because my nose is woo. A mentor help you with exploring your career options, right? A mentor can tell you, okay, maybe you've been teaching, or maybe this is not the type of school you want to be in, or maybe this is not the grade level you want to teach next year or the year after, or stay in it for a long haul. Maybe middle school may not be your thing, or maybe high school may be your thing, maybe elementary may be your thing, right? A mentor can talk to you about those things and kind of help you figure that out, right? Goal setting, developing contacts, putting you in connection with different people that you may want to get to know inside of your building, or inside your school, or inside of your county, or inside of your district, or even inside of your state. And then we have the mentor who helps you identify resources. They may tell you, a website that you can go to for certain things. They may have a book, or they may have a course or class they've taken, or somebody they recommend for you, right? These are the things that usually that mentors do. And again, this is a long-term relationship, and it's built on trust and partnership. And so they freely give this stuff to you, right? And one thing about a mentor, you don't want to burden them, because they're really doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. And you want to be appreciative of them for doing these things out of the kindness of their heart. And the same thing with being the mentor. You don't want to overburden the mentee. You don't want to try to push them faster than what they're really trying to go, especially when they're overwhelmed or burdened with other things. Okay. Mentorship is a valuable tool for turning a mentee's vision into reality. So if I'm going to be the best teacher I can, my very first year teaching, my second, third, fourth, fifth year teaching, you need to get you a mentor, or you need to get you a coach to make sure that you take your teaching, take your skills, you take your passion to another level. Because a lot of times people are getting burnt out. People are getting tired quickly and faster because there's a lot more demands. There's a lot more issues. There's a lot more mental fatigue that's happening with both students and teachers these days. And so you got to make sure that you have the right support system in place to make sure that you're going to be well, because one of the founding principles that I told you for the framework is that personal care. You got to take care of yourself first. I do not believe this, and I'm going to say this and I'm about to go. I do not believe that it's all about students. I do not believe students come first. Because if we have a room full of students, if we have a building full of students, and you have teachers who don't like them, you have teachers who are not well, you have teachers who are not qualified to teach them, those children are not going to get what they need. You need to get adults who are qualified. You need to get teachers who are trained. You need to get teachers who are being trained. You need to have individuals who actually like children and want to engage with children and want to make sure they give them the very best. Okay. So the teacher absolutely has to come first, but I think it's also a partnership. Without students, teachers won't have a job. Without teachers, students going to show up and get a workbook thrown at them, some worksheets thrown at them, some videos thrown at them, hop on this app. They ain't really getting quality education. So we got to make sure that we are keeping our teachers well. Teachers, you have to keep yourself well. And then we have to make sure that we're helping these students stay well and these families and communities stay well. And so I say, make sure you have the right coach. Make sure you have the right mentor. And I promise you're going to have an amazing school year this year. And so I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of our 20 days of professional development for new and beginning teachers with yours truly, Simone, the student teacher. And so I will see you guys tomorrow for the next episode. Peace. Like, subscribe, share the channel, share the YouTube. If you on my LinkedIn, my Facebook, you can look in the description and you can see all of my links. You can follow us. You can click the scan the code that you do not see behind me tonight, but scan the code, or I'll put the link in the description. Once this is over, I'll put the link in the description where you can go and you'll have access to the guided notes. Okay, so you guys have an amazing day, amazing night, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.